What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, KetoBodybuilding.com. I got so many websites that are coming out my ears. This is going to be the keto build, basically week 28, and the reset week 18. Is that right, Chip? Or 17? 17. Reset week 17. So lots of interesting things to talk about here. So I was speaking at a conference this past weekend in Connecticut, and on Friday night we had a VIP dinner, and that dinner was hosted at a Brazilian steakhouse. So what I decided to do was basically go in, brought my food scale with me because I'm a freak, and weighed everything that I consumed at the Brazilian steakhouse, ate until satiation. Wasn't trying to force feed or anything like that. Basically just ate ad libitum until I was full and felt full, and tracked all that, and I've got all that information plotted. Let's just dive into the dashboard here. So here we are in the AI. You can see, again, my weight peak was around 200. I think I actually clocked it once at 20. It was either 200.3 or 202.3 at my heaviest, but I don't think that's represented in here. And then today I woke up and I was like 182.3, I believe. So down, roughly nearly 20 pounds almost. It has not even been 20 weeks yet of this reset. So averaging about 1 pound dropped per week. Again, all this is in preparation for elk hunting. I'm going to be elk hunting this week and next. So I wanted to drop some weight so I wasn't carrying unnecessary weight to the mountains. As such, my calories have been lower. However, with the Brazilian steakhouse, I did go quite a bit higher on the calories. You can kind of see that represented by this. The fat was a little bit higher. The protein was a little bit higher. Carbs were pretty much non-existent, and overall calories were higher. But then I wound up consuming, let's see here, I consumed about 3,600 calories that day. So the day of the Brazilian steakhouse, I ate virtually double what I typically eat in a day. And then I offset that by pretty much fasting the following day. I don't ever recommend, binging and purging and things of that nature, but I went into this as that being my plan. It was very calculated. So I ate about 3,600 calories a day of the Brazilian steakhouse, 266 grams of fat, 302 grams of protein. Again, like 4 grams total carbs. And then the next day, all I had was 1 or 2 coffees with half and half in them. So when you average out the week, day by day, my average was actually pretty close to the goal weight, or the goal macro count. My weight did jump up a little bit the day following that Brazilian steakhouse, all the way up to 185.2, but then the following day dropped down to 182.4. So no harm, no foul. Again, I'm going to be going elk hunting this week and next, so I will probably be consuming closer to my actual maintenance intake of around 3,000 calories, so that I am well fueled for that activity, because I will be putting in the miles, getting my step count in, and I will continue to be weight training throughout that week as well. So we'll probably bump it back up to about 3,000 calories, give or take, between 2,800 and 3,200 on a day-to-day basis, I would imagine. But I pretty much reached the goal that I had hoped for of, getting closer to 180 to 185 going into this elk season. If we look at my chronometer dash here, and we'll just go to trends, charts, and then let's do weight over the last 6 months. And then I would hope that I can see a little bit. This is not quite the view I was hoping for. Let's just look at this dashboard view. It's kind of small. But you can just kind of see here visually that my weight, again, was taken pretty low here coming out of my prep, reverse dieted up to around 200 pounds, and now I'm definitely on the downward slope of that, around 180 or so, give or take. And that's a much better walking around weight for me. I have had to drop my calories below 2,500 to get from 200 to the 182, 185 mark. So I will probably bump that back up to about 3,000, again, like I said, and then just kind of maintain that weight between 180 to 185. Part of me wants to push it down to 175 at the lowest, kind of like I was talking about in the very beginning of this reset phase, and I may do that after this elk season is over. For me, at 175, I've got significantly more vascularity and definition than I do at 180. That 5 pounds makes a massive difference for me. I would be up for that as long as I can be consuming 3,000 calories on a consistent basis after reaching 175. So I may drop my calories a bit after this elk season, get down to 175, and then hold steady there at 3,000. But when I'm truly in a building phase, for me, there's no inherent benefit for really dropping below about 3,000 calories. It's a pretty healthy maintenance intake, and it gives me plenty of caloric runway to taper from at some point in the future when I do transition into a cutting phase for a competition prep, but that will be far from now. So I feel better, my joints feel better, I just feel more mobile, more active, more energized at this 180 as opposed to 200, but I'm glad that I pushed it to 200 to just kind of see how my body stabilized there. So I'm still going to be calling this the reset for the next few weeks because I haven't totally decided if I want to drop down further or not. I'll know more after this elk hunt is over, so I will keep y'all in the loop there. These pictures were taken today, and as you can see, looking leaner than I was at the 200 mark for sure. My face is trimmed up quite a bit from that look at 200 pounds. So yeah, feeling pretty good about how things are transitioning thus far, feeling pretty good about how I feel overall. I'm excited to be putting in some miles in the mountains at elevation, see how my body responds to that. So all is well from the reset front side of things. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll talk to you. Oh, one more thing. I did my in-body today too. The in-body had me at 19.1, which is pretty much the exact same number it was showing when I was around 200 pounds, give or take a percentage point or two. Obviously, I'm significantly leaner now, nearly 20 pounds down from what I was at 200. So another word of caution on the bioelectrical impedance scans, they tend to be significantly less accurate on the extremes. So there's a sweet spot for accuracy for me, which winds up being between about 8% and probably 16%. If I'm around there, I feel like it's pretty accurate, probably even lower than 16, probably like 14%. It's pretty accurate in that window. Anything on the lower or higher end of that window, it seems to be very just off the wall. So if you're using a bioelectrical impedance scan, as most of us are, just be wary of that as it pertains to the accuracy of your estimated body fat percentage. So that's a wrap, ladies and gents. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.